I got a question for you. And I want to make sure that before I ask it, because this is one thing I hear all the time. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. A lot of people think that Draymond's got a lot of enablers out there. A lot of enablers. Some are with the Warriors and some are with that damn sports media. Enabling him. They'll make excuses for him no matter what. If I remove punching Jordan Poole, which none of us would advocate, that's just terrible human behavior. If I remove that, let's just talk about things that have happened on the basketball court with Draymond Green in games throughout his career. Are y'all really that offended? The things that he's done. Are you really, truly that offended? Or pick a different word. Bothered.
Yeah, that's a better word.
Upset.
Yep.
Another employee at this station, I'll wait for him to text and say that I can throw his name out if he'll allow it, although I'm sure his opinion is very clear on this. We were texting about it last night, and he's just like, I'm not only done with Draymond, I've been done. I've been done with him since before the last contract. And that one's interesting because there's been another championship since then. And while he had that kind of bumpy Boston series, he was amazing in the end. He was amazing in the clincher in that series. So I guess let's explore that for a second because I'm hearing a lot of callers, a lot of opinions, a lot of social media. That's it. And even Steiny right there, like that's it. The tipping point has been reached. And it's because of this. It's because he went over to Rudy Gobert and pulled him off of Klay Thompson way too aggressively and way too long. And we wrap in the fact that it was someone he didn't like in the first place. Are you really that offended or bothered by what you've seen Draymond Green do on the basketball court through the years?
Well, everything that he's done has been on the court except for the Jordan Poole incident. Right. And if you want to count him slapping a Michigan State student, a football player that he was not punished for in his own time, that doesn't matter. That's off the court as well. So am I that bothered? I'm not that bothered. I mean, I'm as bothered as I have been. But does that mean I'm so bothered that I want Draymond Green off the team? No. But when you have Draymond Green on your team and you co-sign for being a Warrior fan, you have to accept this, which is stomp on Sabonis, get suspended, choke Gobert, miss 5 games, blow up unnecessarily at a ref, cost your team a game, punched LeBron in the balls, get suspended, lose the NBA Finals. All of these things are a part of being a fan of the Warriors because Draymond Green's a Warrior. So I'm not at the point where I'm so done with him that I want him gone. And it's because the team signed him. So the team signs him to a 4-year deal worth $100 million. And they look at all these things. I'm pretty sure Joe Lacob is aware of everything that Draymond has done. He seems to me to be a pretty aware owner. He's at, every game. And he watches every second of everything. So he knows what Draymond Green is. And he decided, you know what? Through all of it, championships, technicals, suspensions, flagrants, podcasts, everything that is Draymond Green, I'm going to give him $100 million. So because of that,
right?
Do I want to? I have 2 choices. One, be so mad that I'm going to renounce my fanhood of the Warriors, or 2, swallow and say, this is what I signed up for as a Warrior fan, and that's where I am in the second camp.
I think that's fair. I see this a lot. I think this is a standard place that this conversation often goes. The good outweighs the bad with Draymond.
Right.
Okay, I agree. What if I argue this? What if I argue that the bad is really not that bad? Like, I guess that's kind of, is it odd that I'm sort of entertained by this? I'm not here to tell everybody it's okay, he's allowed to do this. I don't even know that needs to be said. This is sports. If somebody was acting this way on the street, he would be arrested. But he's not on the street. And in fact, he's never done anything like this on the street, if you will. You brought up the bar thing. But this is not someone who, through the years, just cruises around in the street, breaking the law that we know of, committing assault. We don't see that. What we do see is on the basketball court, and therefore we've got to look at it through a different lens. So when people go, this is bad behavior, I'm sick and tired of it, like I would argue all of that is actually coming from a different place. It's fatigue because you've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. Same player, same jersey, 10 plus years now. It's frustration due to the fact that the dynasty is coming to an end. I heard Steiny say something really interesting earlier with regard to players showing more frustration when they get late in their career.
Yeah.
Because it's actually just like I thought Clay, big time, last year with all the fours at Phoenix. That was just his own age coming out. Just frustration. I think that is what's going on with a lot of us fans. Like, what is the net negative that these things have caused? What is so offensive? What is so bad about Draymond Green doing the same thing that he's always done? Why are you now suddenly not okay with it?
No, you've been not okay with it, but when
you have? No, everyone was okay with it when it was like a title every year, but it was still a title a year and a half ago.
When they lost to Cleveland, fans were not okay with it. We did show after show after show after Draymond Green got teabagged by LeBron James and punched him in the balls. We did show after show. We did week after week about how fans were not okay with it. Then they got Kevin Durant and they won 2 titles and fans became more okay with it. And when he blew up at Kevin Durant in year 2 and he got suspended, he didn't get suspended for punching Jordan Poole. He got suspended for yelling at Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. He got a game for that, right, which I always will find to be absolutely fascinating in terms of what is suspendable and what is not. But it's always been a back and forth, a seesaw with Draymond Green. When they win, of course you're okay with it. You love it. And when they lose and Draymond Green is suspended or he stomps on an opponent or he chokes out an opponent, you're not okay with it. It's a seesaw. It's not as easy as you're always okay or you're not always okay.
Right, but I think that we get way too black and white with, for instance, you said you did show after show when
week after week.
Right, when the Cavaliers series happened, and it's like anybody could easily argue back, that's great. You think he blew the Cleveland series. They weren't in the Cleveland series without him. They don't even go to the finals. They probably don't even go to the conference finals without him.
Up 3-1, and he teabags LeBron.
No doubt. I'm not here to defend it. I'm simply telling you that what I see through the years is a player who rides the line. And it is not realistic for us to ask a player to ride the line, but always stay on the correct side of the line. He's going to fall over it sometime. I've heard people look at Draymond, the basketball player, and go, what really is his talent? Why did he fall to the second round? Well, I would argue the reason that he has become incredibly successful is because of this attitude that he carries, and he becomes an overachiever, and he does do the dirty work, and he's a thinker who understands the game better than most of his opponents. All of those positives that we give Draymond Green. And so I've always had the opinion that you can't have one without the other. And if you agree with that you can't have one without the other, then I think you have to bake into the pie that, like, he's going to fall off the ledge a few times a year. Yeah. That's all baked in.
Sure.
So don't be surprised or offended. I'm not talking about you.
Of course.
Don't be surprised or offended or upset when it happens.
Well, when it happens now, and it happens to this point where now you're out for 5 games, and so far he's missed 1 game. I know he played a minute 42, but you lost. You're 0-1. And if he doesn't get ejected, do you win that game? Don't know, but would you have a better chance to win a game with Draymond Green than without Draymond Green? If you don't think that that's a yes, then you don't value Draymond Green at all. So you lost 1 game already without Draymond Green. Now he's out for 5 more. including tonight, and Steph won't play. So your chance to win tonight is lessened by the fact that you don't have Draymond Green.
Sure.
And then you don't have Draymond Green for the next 4 games after that, which hurts your chance to win those games, and you're in the middle of a losing skid, and right now you are all of a sudden not everyone's darling pick at the start of the year. You go from 6-2 to 6-6, and you might be 7-11 by the time he comes back. And then he comes back, and now you have work to do. So it's not so much as easy as, you got to expect this with Draymond Green, and it's baked in. Of course it's baked in. Does it have to be baked in? I don't think it does.
I do.
I
do.
That's something that only he can answer. Can he be an effective player without constantly yelling at the officials? I think that the answer would be yes if he had more self-control. You don't know. I don't know. Only he knows.
I think he thinks no.
Well, I don't know what he thinks. I'm not going to put myself into his mind. That's a dangerous thing to do.
He
put yourself into his mind?
No, he puts it out there all the time. Podcast, Instagram. He had a lengthy post the other day.
The only way I can be effective is by yelling at the refs?
No, he's always said that that's him. And he's going to continue to be him.
I get that.
Like that's his authentic self. That's the way he feels at the height of his powers. Right. And he's never going to stop. And that's how he got here. So why would he change now? He said all of these things. I believe him. I believe, and it's not even about.
I believe that's a weakness in his game.
No,
and I believe that is what leads to a lot of what we're seeing now with the 5 games. I don't think he's only getting a 5-game suspension because he choked out Rudy and he's had flagrants in the past. I think a part of it is after he gets ejected, he runs around the court and he's waving the crowd up. And when he gets ejected in Memphis, was that 2 years ago? And he runs around and he's hyping up the crowd. All those things that are baked into Draymond Green, it's baked into who he is. All of that leads to his punishment being harsher than it would be.
Here's another thought. I can't tell you, if I had a nickel for every time everyone's told me that the NBA season doesn't start till Christmas, last year he was quoted as saying that he barely cared about games in March. Well, if you don't care about games in March, what on earth do you think about games in November? And so now I hear people making a very large deal about 5 November games, which I would argue most of the time what I hear from people is 5 November games. It's Thursday. It's Thursday, the week before Thanksgiving. Not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But again, it's a big deal because something emotional in us comes up when we see Draymond do Draymond things. And that's fine. I'm not here to tell anybody how to feel when Draymond goes off. I find Draymond Green to be an entertaining basketball player.
Oh, for sure. He's an entertaining person.
Yes. And this is all part of it. So I hope everyone, and I know I'm sort of creating a little bit of a fine line here. It's not defending it. It's not excusing it. It's not anything it. It is just going, I'm not surprised by it, and I don't get bothered by it. I'm not knocked off track by the fact that Draymond Green got ejected and suspended. Seen it before, going to see it again. Doesn't kill the season. It's November. Let's hang out and see where this thing goes. So I just, even all of the acts themselves, like I put it this way. What I watched Dylan Brooks do to Gary Payton, to me, more offensive
way worse
act on the court than I've ever seen Draymond do. I think. Maybe that's homerism.
Wow.
I think it is. I think he took liberties with another person's career in a way I've never seen Draymond do. No. Kicking somebody in the you-know-whats is not taking somebody's career into their own hands.
True. That was a bad flagrant foul. But look at the collection of Draymond Green misdeeds and flagrants and ejections, and you will see some things that are closer to Dylan Brooks than you want to admit.